Well, hello, and today I'm gonna be talking about one interesting topic. What's the number one reason most do it yourself traders fail, and what to do about it? But before I dive into this, short disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, so whatever I say, take it with a grain of salt. This is my opinion, and you can do whatever you want. You can do your own due diligence too with this. So take it with a grain of salt. Now, what is the number one reason that I think for the do-it-yourself traders is the failure? Number one. So in my opinion, it's the strategy hopping. When it feels like that the strategy that you've just worked on doesn't work, and you're looking for the next strategy, and once you find that next strategy, you think that okay, now that one is the one that will work, so you start doing that strategy instead. Same thing can be said for different indicators, which is again part of the strategy, or something like that. So let me describe what's happening behind the scene. I went through the same exercise myself. That is why I can actually describe to you exactly what is happening, how I felt it. Okay, so I found a new system. Let's say you're watching some video or you've read some book and you think, oh my God, this is the system. This is the one that I like. You're all excited. You finally found something which is going to make money because there's a promises that there's good returns. It always show you some graph with some nice returns. And kind of the drawdowns is just shoved behind, like below, not really as important. Like nobody wants to highlight the downside of it. It's more like, oh, okay, yeah. Some things happen, but look at all the returns, and you're all concentrated about returns. So you think about just returns on how much you're gonna make. So you take your money, you calculate. Oh man, in many years I'll double my account or whatever the calculations you run in your head, right? So you really want to start trading it as soon as possible. So what you do, obviously, if you're a diligent person, you're gonna try to implement it as fast as you can. So if it's a system where you know that you have some specific things to do, like writing some scripts, you'll try to write a script. Or if you want to have something where you need to test it out, okay, you'll try to test it out for as much as you can, but again, with all the tools available for you. So you will try to do it, and you're all excited. Well, it's all about the man. I need to really life. I really want to start making money now, not sometime in the future, but now. But all that commotion, all that stuff is really worth it, right? That's what you think. That's what really is happening in your head. It's all the excitement of finding basically the holy grail that you think that you finally found. Whatever that is, orb, long-term trend following, mean reversion, some indicator, doesn't matter what it is. Okay, so then finally you developed, you have it ready, and the wait is over. You really want to go live, so it's exciting time. Nothing can stop you, and you feel like that you're gonna start making money. That's the expectation. As soon as you go live, you think that you are going to start making money, right? So you do know that you need to be precise and diligent because you know there is no room for error, so you cannot make mistakes. But otherwise, you finally implemented it. You're ready. You're ready to go. So what do you do? Well, you start running it. And that's when the operational hell happens. A lot of times that people don't consider that, well, they have to sit through half of the day or even for a few hours in a day. Like with all these opening range breakouts out there, they promise you that, oh, you can only do it for an hour and a half at the beginning of the day. True, but if you have work or you have some other things to do, you're gonna miss it. And the problem is that once you miss it, you're just not there, and you're gonna miss all the moves, all the good moves. And it feels like that you're missing all the good moves. And once you are actually there, once you are doing things, you're gonna get all the bad moves. That's what it feels like. So most of the time, it becomes demoralizing and becomes literally an operational hell. Then, as you continue that, and for some people it takes longer, for some people it takes very short time, but you feel like that, there's a doubt. Every time you stick to the rules, every time you do exactly what it's supposed to do, somehow it fails. Blow after blow, it goes down on you, and occasionally you get some win, but a lot of times it just goes down and down, so it becomes harder and harder to actually trade that system, sticking to the rules. So you might start deviating from some rules, creating new rules as you go, And then finally you hit the rough patch. When you hit the actual rough patch, it means that every time you trade, you see that with occasional wins, most of the time it goes down and down and down. The drawdown becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So not only your expectations are not met, you did not make any money yet. You still continue losing money, and the faith of that system is not there anymore. You don't believe that it's actually working. I think it's a defective system. You think that, because it's not working, most likely something changed. So whatever you saw as a proof from the video, from the book, it was good for that time, but in your time, it's just not working anymore, right? So you feel like that you've been scammed, quite honestly, and especially on you hear so many articles or so many blogs, vlogs, or videos that people are saying, systems can go down unexpectedly and never come back, kind of a thing, right? So because of this, you finally think that, yes, you lost the faith in that system, so you promise not to fall for it again. You will be more diligent next time. You will do more due diligence for it. You will be investigating a little bit more time on it, but you really need to find another system, the one that will actually work for you, because this one is a piece of junk. Okay, so the step 8 begins. Aha! I found another system, and then this whole cycle repeats again and again and again and again. That's what actually happens. As I said, I was myself falling into the same trap. So many people fall into the same trap. They don't understand one simple thing, that what do you actually need to do? I mean, before I even discussed what to do. So was it really true that the system did that bad? Do you even know if it was working for specific market conditions or not? Did you actually test it far enough to really know that it was working in all kinds of market conditions? In your current market condition, for you to be unemotional, you really need to know what that system is capable of. You need to actually define what is good for the system and what is bad for the system. There's no a system out there which works all the time. It's impossible. They all fail at some point in time. But what does it mean, failure? You need to define to yourself. You need to know exactly what it means to fail for that system. Does it mean that you need to stop it altogether, or it means that it just has a rough patch that you hit and then it will have a recovery? So, as an example, how closely did you pay attention to the drawdowns, to the portion which was kind of shoved under the rug at the beginning? Remember all that excitement that you were talking about the upside, but you really didn't pay attention to the drawdowns? Because drawdowns is actually the most important part. You start doing the system hopping because of the drawdowns, not because of the upside. Nobody's going to be upset that they made too much money. Everyone's going to be upset if they lose money, right? So you do the system hopping because of the downside. So what you need to do? You need to actually pay attention a lot more to the downside versus the upside. So how long is the drawdown? How deep it can go? So you actually know exactly what's going to happen if you do hit that rough patch. And when they happen, what kind of market conditions cause it? You need to know it. If you don't know, you are clueless and you will do the system hopping. And dream less about the upside. That's pretty much what I want to say. Okay? So it's good to dream, but it's just a dream. It's not what's going to make you money. Now, here's an example. Here's one of the systems, like a long-term trend following system that I used in one of my workshops. It has a very nice upside, 20% returns. You can clearly see that it beats the market in the long run. Even in the shorter term, like in a few-year term, it beats the market. You can see by the steepness of that curve. This is the market at the bottom, and this is what the system does. But do you know that can you actually survive this type of a drawdown when it goes down 20-something percent? And then stays flat and you have to sit on your hands? Can you actually survive it? Can you really survive the 29 month of the drawdown? It's not that simple. 29 months, it's more than 2 years. It was in a drawdown. It's like this particular case, right? Yes, the market was in turmoil, but so will you. You're not going to be immune from the market, right? So from the news, from everything that's going on around you. So you need to know your own personal limits, basically how to deal with this. Then, can you actually trade that system? Do you have enough tools for it? Do you have enough time to trade the system? Do you actually are you capable of dedicating your time to it to trade it? Can you automate it, or it requires a certain procedure that you have to execute? Maybe living through hundreds of stocks per day. Can you actually do it with your family commitment, with your workload, and whatever it is? Do you have to be present for the market all the time for it? So it's not that easy. You really need to evaluate it before you can say, okay, this is an exciting system. It has a nice upside. Great. But can you actually trade it? And then, so what can be done? In my opinion, there are several steps that you need to consider to actually use instead of this system hopping that we just discussed. Step number one, you must use the rule-based, or it's called systematic trading. Systematic trading is where you have clearly defined rules and boundaries of exactly what to do. If you don't know it, if you have some kind of a gut feeling approach, that's not going to fly. You're guaranteed, almost 100% guarantee you're going to fail. You're going to system hop, you're going to lose more money. It's more like a death by 1,000 cuts. Okay, so you don't want to do that. You have to have rules. No matter what it is, if it's a fundamental system, specific rules. If it's a value-based system, specific rules. If it's a day trading system, specific rules. If it's a end-of-day type of system, specific rules. Everything has to be systematized, okay? Because it will create the consistency for your results. Then, step number two, you must know your system. You cannot get away with just upside. You really need to pay attention to the downside, as I already mentioned. Right? So you need to test it for all kinds of market conditions. Without that, you are clueless. You have no idea what it's capable of. You have no idea if it's good or bad. You need to know and define for yourself what's good for the system and what's bad for the system. Okay? Now, step number three. You cannot get away trading with just one system. Sometimes it's good, some people can do it, but you do need to create a variety of different systems for different market conditions. It's basically inevitable, because as you saw in my example where you have very nice system, but it sits in a drawdown for 29 months. For you to trade that type of system, you really have to have a strong faith in that system, right? Day in, day out, you check it, nothing is happening. For 29 months, nothing is happening per se. It's still in a drawdown and finally comes out. But how would you know that in 10 years from there, you're going to make that huge returns that it was promising you, right? You have no idea because you're living in the now. You don't live in the future. So you need to really have more diversity in your application of all the systems together. So you need to define the objectives for your system, meaning that what thing they are supposed to be working in and what thing they will not be working in. So it usually refers to the market conditions, but you just need to really know what they are and pay attention more to the objectives versus just individual systems performance. Because the main thing is, it's about the holy grail is the combination of those systems. They're not random systems. We're not trying to combine some good performing systems together and hope for the best. We're trying to combine specific systems together where they complement each other. They work as a orchestra, where everything is, you're the composer basically of that orchestra, but they need to be complementing each other with sounds and not be in a dissonance so that it feels very awkward, because if they're all correlated, then they all go down at the same time. If they're all going down, that's when you're going to be abandoning the system or the combinations of the systems if like you are in a world of pain. So that's the reason for having the combinations of systems. That's the holy grail. And that's, in my opinion, is the main thing. So these 4 steps is what you really need to pay attention to. Here's an example. I held 3 workshops, one in October, one in December, and one in June. And this is the result of these 3 workshops. As an example, 15 systems combined together. They deliver outstanding returns. But they deliver outstanding returns not only to the upside, they have very nice returns, or the drawdown portion to the downside as well. The drawdowns are much shorter in duration and not as deep as, let's say, the other system that I was just showing you before, which was the part of that same workshop, by the way. So you can see how they complement each other together. Now, I just want to wrap it up for this short video, well, kind of short video, is so don't just do the system hopping. It's not your fault or your system's fault that something doesn't work. It's all about knowing what the system does and how to deal with it. You do know more about the downside than the upside. I cannot emphasize strong enough about it. And you do need to use rule-based trading. Without rule-based trading, without systematized approach, you are clueless what's going to happen. If you are trying to include your discretion, meaning that some gut feeling into it, that it's almost guaranteed that you will fail. Because even the discretionary traders, in reality, they have specific rules that they follow. It's just they have so much experience normally that they see that as a gut feeling. But in reality, it's just accumulated of years and years of experience. If you don't have that kind of accumulation of the years experience yet, do the rule-based trading. You'll be saving yourself much more from anything else in this case. And then have a variety of non-correlating systems. It's without it, you are kind of lost because you are guaranteed to abandon things or do the system hopping if the system doesn't work. Or even a variety of systems don't work. If you just collected systems together, it's guaranteed to fail because most of the time you will collect the best performing systems which all correlate to each other, right? So you don't want to have that. You want to have non-correlated systems. So what you do need to do is to really pay attention to this suite of systems, meaning the combinations of systems together. And by the way, I interchangeably use systems for the strategies. It's the same exact thing. I just call it systems, and in our universe we call it systems. Which leads me to one simple question. Oh, not one question, sorry, statement. If you do have more questions, please write it to info@tradingsystems.com and check out our site, tradingsystems.com, for more information. And we have 4 books as well, which are available on Amazon. You're welcome to buy. And there is a lot of more free stuff, such as free course or free courses, plural. It's not just one of them. But there is multiple different free courses that we give. Check out our site. Or read the books. At the end of the book, there is an offer for the free course. Actually, there's 3 courses behind it. And there's one free course right on our website at tradingsystem.com. So you're welcome to check it out. Otherwise, right back, put the like, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.